the difference in what we're saying.
Go ahead.
We didn't have a deal with you, so he didn't need...
It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
We were just friends. We were
just
friends.
Friends, it doesn't matter.
Wait a second, there is no such thing as a conflict.
If somebody
no, there's
works,
not.
There is.
David, I've done business with hundreds of lawyers. I've never signed a conflict waiver unless there was a conflict, and there could be a conflict.
That's not the way it works. When a litigator comes in that has the intention of, they have a litigator's mind, and they're friends of a friend, they signed a conflict waiver. That's how it works. If I introduce at Greenberg Glusker, if I introduce a friend to the firm...
Did you know Dale Kinsella?
Yes, I do. I know all those people. Okay, so when I introduce somebody to Greenberg Glusker, because of the type of law firm they are, they look everybody up that you know.
Every law firm does.
Yeah, and there's always somebody that's a friend of a friend.
No, it's not. They have to have done work for them. You had to have done work for them.
Done work. Greenberg Glusker at a whole. If Greenberg Glusker has done work for a party, and another party comes in and wants to be represented, you have to sign a conflict waiver.
Correct.
But it's by the choice of the law firm. If the law firm specializes in that kind of legal litigation, I'm just telling you, it's. So
different. What's the deal, guys?
The deal.
Mastros. What is? I'm documenting this conversation.
You know what? I'm going to call 3 different lawyers, and they're going to tell you
all right now. You don't have a lawyer.
You
don't have a lawyer right now to call.
Wait, what's the bet?
The bet is that an attorney can decide to sign a conflict waiver.
It's
yes
not
or
the
no.
attorney. It's the attorney the attorney can be sued if he doesn't get the conflict waiver signed by that party.
If it goes down. If it goes down that route.
I promise you.
Huh.
Let me just send this to Jonathan.
This is great.
Jonathan Greenberg.
All I'm saying is basically we didn't sign a conflict waiver. My dad and I didn't sign a conflict waiver.
What are you talking about? Is your father your lawyer?
No. Jason has represented my father,
maybe because your father, somebody had to
and my dad and I have sued each other before.
I don't know what to tell you. I think that I don't know what to tell you. I've done business with hundreds of law firms.
You're going to find out right now. Whatever I say doesn't matter. Just
okay. Let me call Jay.
Exactly.
Let me call Jay. Hold on 1 second. Let me ask my husband.
Exactly. Get him on the phone. He's a smart guy.
He knows this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He's the CPA.
These Mastros guys. You guys are going to dinner. Either way, you guys have to go to dinner at Mastros together. And you can further these discussions.
Somebody could get sued if you don't give the person a choice.
I'm going to give your husband an example, and I want to hear it. I want to hear the example.
The example is.
Let me just. I'm going to.
It's a conflict of interest.
It is a conflict of interest, but an attorney can decide or not if they want to do that type of stuff, like get conflict waivers signed. I understand that if my dad sues me and basically threatens to sue Jason, that is a possibility. That's why I don't use Jason for litigation. I use another attorney. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Huge lawsuit. I won millions of dollars. Hey, it's me. Hi, question for you. Question in the state of California.
Can I give him a real example?
I just want to ask. If the state of California, if an attorney is representing one party, and then there's another party that it doesn't matter. If there's another party that is going to be party to the deal.
Party to the deal? That's not what I said.
No.
I never said party to the deal.
Will you please let me finish this sentence? Okay. Wait a second. And there's another party that they're going to do work for, but let's just say this attorney is part of a fund. I'm going to give you an example. This attorney is part of a fund, and they're investing money in a fund, and that fund goes to funds a company. Does that attorney have the right to represent that other company without a conflict of a waiver conflict?
Is the attorney functioning as an attorney on whatever you meant by investing in the fund?
Yes, he is.
He's not functioning as a litigator.
No, it doesn't matter if he's a litigator or just the contract attorney. It doesn't matter.
and now an attorney who is a party to one client is now involved in a transaction between that client.
There's no transaction going. There's no transaction going. No, there's no transaction going. Dennis, basically what I'm trying to explain to Nancy is that conflict waivers are only signed by litigators, and especially if somebody does litigation, they have to be as careful as if somebody comes to the law firm that's a friend of a friend, they have to get a conflict waiver signed. But if somebody like my business partner Jason does a deal and invests money in a company and also acts as an attorney, there's no reason for a conflict waiver because he's not litigating against that person. He's representing that person.
I don't think you're right. I don't.
You're wrong.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you that. Okay.
In my experience, you're absolutely correct that in litigation it's mandatory, but I believe it's mandatory in all cases. Whenever someone represents one client for anything, and then they represent someone else who's dealing with that client. So you've got two clients. They get now a waiver letter is not a rocket science deal. It just says you understand that I used to represent so and so, and now I'm representing you or both.
So let me give you the largest law firm in Silicon Valley, Gunderson Detmer, runs a $2 billion fund, and all the companies they invest in, they represent as a client.
Sure. I guarantee you their letter with the client, that ultimately when they do it, somewhere there is a paragraph that says,
there is a paragraph, sure.
You're gonna have to get there's something,
and that's all, but you just argued that whole time that Kairos can't be represented by
I said
Jason.
Not without a conflict. I said it's a conflict
No, you said it's a conflict for him. It isn't
it's not necessarily a conflict. In
fact,
most things aren't conflict.
It's not a conflict.
But nonetheless, one has to acknowledge, I understand that you have represented the other people.
But it's not up to the attorney, it's the law in California.
It's not the law. It's not the law.
But it's an acknowledgement.
It's not the law, but
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, go ahead and look it up.
All right, goodbye.
I appreciate it.
Goodbye. I'm just telling you.
I do this
all
day.
When I've done trademark work, you get conflict waivers.
I love it. Nancy, you don't have to look it up. It's okay.
She's like, yes, I do.
So tell me again why Kairos shouldn't be represented by Jason.
Well, if you're going to put money in, he shouldn't.
Why?
Because he needs his own attorney to negotiate the money deal.
What's the conflict? You're talking about a company.
If the fund is putting money into...
You're talking about a company that has no value to it, or under $10 million of value. What kind of a conflict is that?
Hold on. So we have to prepare a conflict waiver with a...
Walk the plank like I did.
California. So I think I have to prepare a conflict waiver.
You can't take it.
Conflict waiver.
Nancy, what sign are you? What sign is she?
She's
Sag.
Oh,
what's your date? What's your date again?
December 19th.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. She's a Sag. You guys are sexier as you get older.
Lawyering law. Oh my God, I can't stand this fucking computer. Open the file.
Why do you have to be recording this shit?
Because I have to document certain things.
Why?
Because it's just funny.
Okay, are all necessary steps. To all attorneys in California, such representations create a conflict of interest waiver from one or more clients are all necessary steps in addressing conflict of interest. And I'm telling you, you have to have a conflict.
Where does it say that? It doesn't say that.
I can't open
exactly.
this. I can't open this here, but that's what it says right here. I'm just reading. Oh, here. A lawyer who needs but does not obtain an effective written waiver is potentially subject to problems with disgruntled clients, blah, 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 blah. Getting sued or threatened with suit, it's very important to stress the positive side effects. The conflict. Lawyers owe their clients a broad duty of loyalty, and clients are entitled to know what they're getting themselves into when they are asked for waivers. A solid waiver letter serves important client interest. The material contained section is intended to inform and assist partners in preparing draft waivers. For the firm to be seen as acting consistently and appropriate waivers are to be sought. It's firm policy that the firm's general counsel shall be consulted in every situation where a waivers may be prepared. In general, counsel's approval must be obtained. Must be obtained. I'm just telling you what it says.
Did you get anything?
It just says that. I know that it's in the
You
state of
know.
California.
Would you bet your life on
Some
it?
conflicts
Would you
cannot
bet your
be.
life on it?
Absolutely, I'll bet my life. That
You'd
you
bet
have
your
to,
life
but it's
on it.
not up to the individual lawyer.
Wow, okay.
It's not up to the individual lawyer.
Okay, perfect. I love it. You just heard that. She just bet it. Let's see if the ego gets the best of her.
It's not an ego. It's just listen. I've done this enough times.
Yeah, but you don't ever want to risk your life over something. Why don't you just get the precautionary steps to just make sure?
Keep in mind, conflict waivers must.
Nancy, you got to remember, it's my job to make sure everything is dotted and crossed.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you. Let me just call a lawyer and you'll see.
Good. I can't wait to hear this. Your own husband validated what I said.
No, he didn't. He actually validated what I said. He said you have to get a conflict waiver.
No, he didn't. He didn't say that. He didn't say it's mandatory. He didn't say it was mandatory. He did not say it was mandatory.
You didn't ask him if it was
mandatory.
We did.
I did.
No, you did not.
Okay, so let's get the.
You can spin anything you want. But that's not you can spin anything you want.
Good afternoon, Rick.
Hi, is Jay there?
I think so. Who's calling, please?
It's Nancy Deitch.
One moment.
Hello, Ms. D.
Hey, honey, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I have a lawyer question for you. So I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here with somebody who is telling me one thing, and I said I'm going to call a lawyer friend of mine, and I'm going to ask if this is the case. If you are in the state of California, if let's just say you're funding, you're representing a fund, and you're part of the fund, as an example.
Let's say you're a law
firm.
Will
you please let me finish what I'm going to say?
Let's say you're a law firm.
Okay,
like
he doesn't want me. He doesn't want me to.
No. I'm just giving you the example.
It doesn't matter.
Let's say you're a law firm like Gunderson
I don't care if it's Loeb and
and
Loeb.
you also have a fund attached to your law firm.
Doesn't let you finish a sentence.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so if you're a law firm and you are funding a company, can you represent the other party without them having their own attorney, without signing without the other party signing a conflict waiver?
Is it mandatory?
I am not the best person to answer this question, but my immediate conviction is it would absolutely be mandatory. You would absolutely have to have
is it
waivers and disclosures all the way around. And if you
disclosures,
didn't,
yes.
Waivers.
you would run the risk of
there would be disclosures
of being sued by everybody.
Right,
I would never do it.
And you said waivers and disclosures, right?
Yeah, in order for the waiver to be effective, the
Okay.
disclosure has to be.
Let me just give you the background to this information. I invest in technology companies, and basically we run an incubator, and my partner, he used to be a partner at Pillsbury, now he has his own firm. And basically, we invest under our fund in technology companies and represent them in basically filing their corporate structure, getting their shares distributed, and we don't get into conflict waivers because we're not looking at litigation with the company we're investing in. Once we're done with what we're doing, we will send them off to, let's say, a Cooley or a Pillsbury. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So basically we're talking about somebody that Nancy's getting into business with, and we're probably going to invest in him. And I said just a corporate structure and getting him off the ground should really be done by my business partner.
And I said not without a conflict waiver.
But it doesn't sound like.
And it wasn't corporate structure. You said it was negotiating the deal for the money. That's what I said. I said he needs somebody else to negotiate
to put
the deal.
together a convertible note deal for $5 or $10 million. you're talking about a company that has no value.
Yeah, but you know what, Jay? If I'm that person, I'm giving him advice. I'd say you need to get your own attorney. You shouldn't have the same attorney representing the fund, representing you. Correct, Jay? In the contract to get the convertible note.
I think that sounds like the safest course of action, but you know who would really be able to answer that question much better than me is Mara.
Yeah, okay.
Because she deals with those kinds of things all the time.
So.
Yeah.
And as a transactional lawyer, which is what you're really talking about, and somebody who represents